You're listening to the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
Much like Bayley, Asuka, Samoa Joe, Austin Aries, Bobby Roode, and Eric Young, I have not been drafted to the Raw or SmackDown reports. However, I am still here. I am still Arya, and this is still your NXT audio report for Wednesday, July 20th, 2016. Your combination NXT CWC report. Let's kick things off here with NXT. The draft has come and gone, and honestly, the only thing that has been negatively affected on NXT is the tag team division. Because American Alpha, by and far, the most popular team on NXT. So their call-up is making a big difference. However, while Finn Balor is a loss, the top of the card has so much depth and so much talent that, we have plenty of people ready to fill in and take that spot. And unfortunately, I guess, the Hype Bros, no more on NXT. Oh darn, what will we do? Anywho, NXT kicked off with the heavyweight champion of the World of Orlando, Samoa Joe, going one-on-one with the Man Beast, one-on-one with Rhino. These two men, 10 years ago next month, were in a three-way dance at the TNA Hard Justice pay-per-view, the third person, by the way, being Monty Brown, and that was the show that was most famous for the Impact Zone being lit on fire during the beginning of the show. This match barely went 5 minutes, most of which had Joe on offense, and Rhino, by the way, seemed completely gassed by the time it was time for him to make his comeback. Joe won clean with the corner Uranagi and the Coquina Clutch. Asuka cut a promo backstage saying that she has no problem fighting Bayley, fighting Nia Jax, or even fighting both. We got a video package covering all of the NXT draft picks, showing all the developmental peak guys and girls sitting in Full Sail University last night and the reactions to everyone being drafted. While they didn't show a close-up of it when Nia Jax got drafted, I don't know if she was dating whoever she was next to, but whoever she was next to, she suddenly jumped into that person's arms, and it was nice. Alexa Bliss actually cut a really nice promo, as did Mojo Rawley, and so you kind of felt nice for them, even though there are at least a dozen people you probably would have been called up before either of them. You felt good for them. The Authors of Pain versus American Alpha. American Alpha was coming out for their match when they were attacked on the ramp by the AOP. They sent Jordan flying off the ramp and beat Gable down and kicked him off the ramp as well. Paul Ellering again came out and nodded his approval at what happened, but this time the three of them walked to the ring. After a commercial break, Ellering took the mic and appeared to be ready to say something. However, Jordan and Gable shoved away medical personnel, charged the ring, and the match was on. And I should point out, we are on day number 42 of the quest to find out the names of the Authors of Pain and to see why they just randomly showed up in NXT attacking American Alpha. Especially, they attacked them after they lost the tag team titles. AOP did this cool-looking double-team maneuver where the tattooed one tossed Gable into the air. The non-tattooed one caught him in a bear hug, and then the tattooed one ran off the ropes, and they did a double sandwich on Chad. Jordan got the hot tag, and it never failed to look impressive to see Jordan suplex these two large men all over the ring. Gable bull rushed the tattooed one and launched him across the ring with a T-bone suplex. The non-tattooed one tried to pull his partner to safety, but Jordan flew over the top rope with a tope. All four men ended up outside the ring, with Gable being swung headfirst into the LED board and Jordan sent crashing headfirst into the steps. AOP rolled Gable into the ring and picked up the shockingly mostly clean win with the combination side Russian leg sweep clothesline. The Revival were backstage, bragging about beating American Alpha in a 2 out of 3 falls match, saying that the Authors of Pain should send them a thank you letter for breaking Jordan and Gable. Dawson said that no team can beat them, so up walked Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, who, if you recall, beat them the week before NXT TakeOver. Gargano and Ciampa pointed out, like I did, that they did beat the Revival, and it was only a matter of time before they beat them for the belts. After 14 months of being on the DL, Hideo Itami returns in 2 weeks. Unfortunately, something tells me that the story of who randomly attacked him before NXT TakeOver Unstoppable in May of 2015 will never be solved. We'll never find out if it was Kevin Owens who randomly attacked him. And I doubt anybody else even remembers that. We then got a return of a nightmare from a year ago. Patrick Clark, who was one of the people on the most annoying and drama-filled seasons of Tough Enough ever. In fact, I say one of. This was easily the most annoying season of Tough Enough ever. I, to this day, don't even know how I managed to watch every single episode, but I did, and whatever. And anyway, Patrick Clark is here to debut against Austin Aries. Austin Aries took 99% of the match, and Patrick Clark looked decent enough when he was being beaten on. However, that very little amount of time when Clark was on offense, it just looked horrible. So, dude, just take your career as a jobber. You can't do any offense, my friend. Anyway, Aries won pretty quickly with the last chancery, and then he was attacked by No Way Jose, which, if you recall, about a month ago, Aries attacked Jose following a match. This is easily the most serious Jose has ever looked, with Aries literally running away to save himself from the angry No Way Jose. Main event time. Nia Jax versus Bayley in their third encounter. One of these two ladies got drafted last night, and it's not the one that is loved by literally the entire audience. These two first faced each other at NXT TakeOver London, with Bayley winning, and then they squared off again back in May, where Bayley got injured by the Monster. This match was much more competitive than their match in May, until one point where Nia tried to throw Bayley out through the ropes, but Bayley got caught up in them, clotheslining herself on the middle rope, and ironically that mess up worked very well within the match. At times it appeared Nia was offended that Bayley didn't just stay down, but Bayley kept picking herself up and fighting back, getting in small spurts of offense in between her beatings. Nia tried to crush her with the running hip attack outside the ring, but thankfully Bayley decided she wanted to live and moved out of the way. Back in the ring, Bayley got near falls with a flying crossbody block and a victory roll. Nia got one with a jackhammer, and the crowd exploded when Bayley kicked out of the jackhammer. Nia went for the leg drop, but she stopped herself and climbed up to the middle rope. However, Bayley jumped to her feet, got to the middle rope, and before Nia knew what was happening, she got hit with the Bayley to belly suplex from the middle rope. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, Bayley pins Nia Jax. So Bayley has now avenged one huge loss. Can she avenge a second one? Cruiserweight Classic. They started the show by showing Twitter feedback from last week and airing highlights from all of last week's matches, leading into our first match, the returning Tajiri versus Damien Slater. Tajiri used his original WWE theme song, and I wonder if William Regal ever forgave him for doing the original ECW One Night Stand pay-per-view, because, you know, they ruined a perfectly good friendship and partnership back in 2005. Tajiri has aged a good 11 years since 2005, last seen on North American television doing 2 TNA matches in 2014. If you don't remember it, don't worry, I'm sure you're not the only one. Slater looked good here, but he really should not have tried to kick Tajiri, because Tajiri's kicks, even though he's 45 or 46, still look and sound amazing, while Slater's in comparison looked quite weak. The biggest pop for the match was when Tajiri used the tarantula, and then Tajiri won with the buzzsaw kick. And Tajiri will face Grand Metalik in the second round of the tournament, folks. It was then TJ Perkins versus Mack. TJ Perkins, best remembered as Suicide number 4 and Manic number 1, while Mack is called the Urban German, and he was the Michael Jackson of Germany, coming out wearing the Michael Jackson red jacket and white gloves that if you've ever seen Shinsuke Nakamura wrestle, well, you've seen more than one person wear that. And actually, the announcers compared him to Alex Wright, which may be the first time that Alex Wright's name has ever been mentioned on a WWE telecast. By the way, do you remember when they tried to claim that TJ Perkins was always Suicide in TNA? That was kind of ridiculous, wasn't it? This match came off more choreographed than every other match so far. The other matches always come off as more of a competition, while this one came off more like two people cooperating to put on a good match. Mack at one point used the Jeff Hardy Whisper in the Wind, but it didn't look nearly as nice and thus didn't get much of a reaction. Mack used a really nice jumping knee from the top rope, which woke the fans up. And Perkins then missed a 450 splash, however, then picked up the win with a facebuster and submitting Mack with a knee bar, and will face the winner of the Johnny Gargano-Tommaso Ciampa match. We then got easily the best match of the first half of the first round, Mustafa Ali versus Lince Dorado. This match, if you didn't watch the Cruiserweight Classic, at least go back and watch this match. It is well worth it. As a side note, a few years ago, this probably 5, 6, 7 years ago, I first read the name Lince Dorado in an issue of PWI, and I had no idea how to pronounce it, so I pronounced his name Lince Dorado. And then for some reason, every time I would see the name, what I thought was Lince Dorado, I would begin singing it to the tune of Desperado, saying, Lince Dorado. I don't know why. So anyway, Dorado looked amazing. Ali looked amazing. And I don't know if these two ever worked together before. However, I really want to see them wrestle each other more. Dorado at one point hit a springboard reverse hurricanrana that was done with such fluidity, you would think that that is the normal way to do the move. Ali hit a Spanish fly from the top rope. The fans popped forward and jumped to their feet, and then they screamed even louder when Dorado kicked out. Ali went for a backwards 450 splash where he stood with his back to the ring and did the 450 into the ring. However, Dorado moved out of the way, and Lince won with the shooting star press and will face the winner of Jason Lee and Rich Swann. Ali may have injured himself as he was sitting on the mat holding his neck and being checked on by the trainers while they did the announcement of the winner. And then we got the main event, Akira Tazawa versus Kenneth Johnson. Johnson, they mentioned, he used to have a speech impediment that was so bad that WWE refused to sign him and told him to go get that fixed before they consider using him. And he spent 6 months working on it and was able to beat it. And they said that he can go 5 or 6 minutes now at a time without ever stuttering. Tazawa looked good here, and while Johnson did his best to make an impression, the fans didn't care so much for him. Johnson's biggest near fall and biggest reaction of the match actually came when he used a double knee strike to the face and a jackknife cradle. Tazawa kicked out. Johnson used a reverse unprettier that we were told was his finish. Of course, Tazawa kicked out, but because nobody knew it was his finish, because we'd never seen him win a match ever, no one cared because it just looked like, Tazawa kicked out of a random move. Anyway, Tazawa, after being beat on for a bit, suddenly exploded. He hit the fastest German suplex you've ever seen in your life, and then won with a bridging German suplex. So Akira Tazawa moves on to the second round, and that does it for the CWC, and that does it for this audio report. I want to thank everybody for listening, and I'll talk to you again in 7 days.